Hello, students. I hope everyone is well and safe. As you all know, we have already completed Unit 1, where we discussed the meaning of knowledge in detail and the various aspects of it. We even differentiated between knowledge and similar concepts like reasoning and analysis. We discussed the role of teacher and dialogue and much more. Now we are going to begin with Unit 2. In Unit 2, we are going to study the various forms of knowledge. We will also study the association between culture and knowledge, followed by the association between epistemology and education, Indian philosophies, and much more. Now, about the forms of knowledge, we have already studied in brief about the same. Let's get into the details now. Now, there can be broadly five classifications of the forms of knowledge. I'm going to name them all. The first one is local and universal knowledge, concrete and abstract knowledge, theoretical and practical knowledge, contextual and textual knowledge, and the last one is school and out of school knowledge. Now, we will discuss in detail about all these subparts of the forms of knowledge. We'll begin with the first one, which is local knowledge and universal knowledge. Now, local knowledge, as the name already suggests, is a collection of facts and relates to the entire system of concepts, beliefs, and perception that people hold about the world around them. This includes the way people observe and measure their surroundings, how they solve problems, and validate new information. In local knowledge, culture and society have a very important role to play as they shape the local knowledge. But in contrast, at the same time, universal knowledge is that knowledge which is known to be true everywhere in the world. Now, the importance of local knowledge and universal knowledge lies in the basis for local level decision making and worldwide level of decision making. You see, when we are taking local level decisions, for example, say in the field of agriculture or food or healthcare or even education, we need to look at the local aspects of the knowledge available to make wise and better decisions. But at the same time, for making decisions on a worldwide basis, we need to look at the information available which applies to the whole world, therefore, making better decisions. These two forms of knowledge also affect teaching and learning. We can see that in local knowledge, teaching can be done through storytelling as well, and the students can very well relate. But in terms of universal knowledge, learning by formal education is more relevant. Lastly, it is very evident that local knowledge is very subjective in nature as it varies from culture to culture, society to society. But in contrast, at the same time, universal knowledge is very objective in nature. Moving on, now we are going to study the second form of knowledge, which is concrete knowledge and abstract knowledge. As the names again very blatantly suggest, concrete knowledge is arriving at a conclusion having obtained absolute conclusive evidence, knowledge that cannot be refuted. That is concrete knowledge. Abstract knowledge is a level of thinking about things that is removed from the facts of the here and now and from specific example. Abstract thinkers are able to reflect on events and ideas and on attributes and relationships separate from the objects that have those attributes or share those relationships. A concrete thinker can see that the ball is big, while an abstract thinker can think about the size in general and in terms of relativity as well. The third form of knowledge, which is theoretical and practical knowledge, we are going to study that in detail now. Theoretical knowledge helps to understand why one technique works, whereas other fails. It shows you the whole structure and builds the context and helps you set a strategy. Where self education is a concerned theory that prepares you to set a direction for your future education. Theory teaches you through the experience of others. At the same time, practical knowledge helps you acquire the specific techniques that become the tools of your trade. It is something that you can only learn through doing and experiencing. Now, we all know that both theoretical and practical knowledge are equally important. Moving on to the fourth form of knowledge, that is contextual knowledge and textual knowledge. Contextual knowledge can be defined as all the knowledge that is relevant and can be mobilized to understand a given situation, decision, problem. In our definition, contextual knowledge is a subpart of the overall context. At the same time, textual knowledge refers to the process of extracting interesting and non trivial information and knowledge from unstructured text. Use of textual knowledge is to discover and use knowledge that is contained in a document collection as a whole. Textual knowledge lets executives ask questions of their text based resources, quickly extract information, and find answers they never imagined. Now, the last one, and again a very important form of knowledge, is school knowledge and out of school knowledge. Now, school knowledge is that which provides education through personal interaction and mutual participation. In this case, education becomes a two-way process. The educator and the one who's being educated influencing each other. The passive agency of education is a one-way process which is to be included in out of school knowledge. The form of gaining knowledge where no interaction or mutual give and take takes place is out of school knowledge. For example, learning through radio or television or press, all these are included in out of school knowledge. These were the 5 forms of knowledge that we just discussed. Now we are going to move on to the next subtopic of this unit, which is culture. Now, even while discussing the forms of knowledge, we came across the importance of culture in society, in learning, and in knowledge when we differentiated between local and universal knowledge. Now, culture plays a very important part in knowledge and perception. It refers to the core beliefs and customs of a particular group of people, and it can be observed in many aspects of their lives, such as their language, food, clothing, ceremonies, religious ceremonies, symbols, and history, and so much more. In many cases, culture is associated with family origin, race, ethnicity as well. But culture can also be gained by choosing the identity with a specific group. Also, one very important fact about culture is that it is learned way of behavior that is transmitted from generation to generation. It is shared by a group and it historically accumulates over a period of time. So therefore culture can also be said to have a historical growth in a way. And of course, culture is an essential part of human beings. No one is complete without it. In fact, an individual can be part of many cultures and subcultures. Now, to understand the concept of culture even better, let us discuss the elements of culture, which are material culture, social institution, humans, and the universe. We will study about these in detail and study further in the next video. If you have any doubts until now related to any of this, please feel very free to contact us. We'll be happy to solve your queries and your doubts. The contact details have been provided in the description box. For more information, you can also visit the college website.